Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to the Tried and Tested podcast. I am your host Tracey, and if you are not familiar with my show, this is a dating and relationship podcast where we talk about all things that are involved in relationships and dating in this day and age. We talk about money, we talk about breaking up, we talk about making up, we talk about food. Anything that's related to relationships is what we talk about on this show. So today we have a special guest, my girl Joy. Say hey, Joy.
Hi, everyone. How's it going?
So thank you so much for being my special guest for the day. And so without further, thank you, honey. Without further ado, our topic is actually going to be today healing from your past, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So this topic is basically, we've all been in different relationships in our life. Some people have been in one, some people have been in several. But relationships, they do take a lot out of you depending on what type of relationship you are in. So for you, Joy, what do you think it means to heal from your past?
Oh, well, to heal from your past, to me it means that owning up to your part in the relationship. Like, some people always blame the other person for their hurt, but you also endured that hurt. So you kind of have to recognize that you stayed in a relationship that wasn't healthy for you, and you have to kind of forgive yourself for doing that to yourself as well as the other person to move forward and not take it into your future relationships. And that's hard to do because you never know. You feel like you're fully healed from a relationship, but you won't really know until you enter a new one because certain things may trigger you back to how you were feeling in the previous relationship, even if it's not what it actually is. Like, you may think that it is, but it's not because you're with a good person.
Yeah.
But it may be a trigger for you. So it's kind of, that's when you really know, okay, I still have triggers, but I'm working through this. And it's important to also let your new partner know some of the things that you went through so he or she can understand where you're coming from and how you guys can work together to get through it.
Okay, so, you kind of answered, like, the next question, which is, why does it need to be done? Oh, no, it's fine. So, like, why does it need to be done? And I do agree with you. I feel like, obviously healing needs to be done because, like you said, you may take it into another relationship, and there may be issues that now you're creating based off of someone who's not even in the relationship. So you have a new person, a couple, and then, like, you have issues from the last person, and it's like, whoa, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, what's going on? So I feel like I do agree with you as far as that's concerned, that it needs to be done because you don't want to drag your baggage or you don't want to drag any issues that you may have into a new situation. So that definitely is good. So what kind of stuff should you be healing from? So, like, when you think about a relationship that maybe didn't work out, and sometimes, you can still be healing, and the relationship it didn't have to end horribly, but, like, just give, like, the listeners, like, some examples of what kind of things you should be healing from that you think.
I mean, I feel like a big part is trust. So my past relationship, trust was not, it wasn't there. So, going through the phone, seeing the text messages, like, what's going on? And so you just have that. And so getting into a new relationship, it's like, can I really trust this person? Even though they may be showing you all the signs of they're trustworthy, that not being able to heal from the past relationship can cause you to doubt them, even if, like, it can cause you to have, scenarios that are not really there, like, you make up things in your head, like, it's not really going on, like, this is real. So it's like trusting that the current relationship that you're in is not the previous relationship, especially if the person is not showing you any type of signs to where they're not being trustworthy. You shouldn't have a reason to not trust them. You should be open to, trusting them and knowing that they're not who you were with previously. So trust is a big issue that you have to heal from to move forward. And like I said, you won't really know how because for me, being in a new relationship, before I got into my new relationship, I always said, I'm good. Like, I'm ready. Like, I'm healed from my past. Like, everything is moving forward. And then you get into a new relationship and then you see little things. You're like, wait a minute. did he really say, is he really going where he said he's going? And like this little kind of bad thoughts just in your head. And it's like, you have to ask yourself, like, okay, did he give you a reason to doubt him or doubt where he said he was going or what he was doing? No. So then you need to let it go and, and work through those feelings. Don't ignore them, but work through them if you have to journal, do that. Talk with your partner is very important. Letting him or her know, what you've been feeling, because it's not good to just hold it in as well. That's another thing, to not hold it in, talk through it, journal it, talk through it with your partner, because that's what they're there for, No,
I definitely agree. But also, I would say, as far as trust, but I feel like, with relationships that end, whether they end good or bad, you learn things from them. And I feel like sometimes you learn common sense, right? So we're talking about trust, for instance, but it's like sometimes you can be too trusting, right? And then so therefore it's kind of like you become like a fool. So I think that, in this case, there should be a balance. Like when you're healing, don't just say that, okay, everything that I gave to that person in a relationship, I need to heal so I can kind of do that for the next person. No, like you have to exercise wisdom and, and just try to make sure that, okay, like now that you may have learned more about what people could be like, everyone is not the same, but you can definitely use those things that you've learned and kind of see, okay, what can I take that's positive and, so that kind of thing.
Right.
And then also with like the stuff that you should be healing from. So I feel like that is a long list of things for me. You've heard the term, I'm sure, before, rebound, right? Where people kind of they go from a relationship and then they just bounce right back to another person and they consider, they're fine. And I feel like, so some of the things that people should probably heal from would be abuse, and that could be emotional, physical, verbal abuse from their partner, like those kind of things. Like you need to take time out to kind of actually deal with those things. I don't care if it's a counselor, a pastor, something, because you cannot be like 100% ready for a new relationship if someone has treated you like a certain way. I would also say self-esteem, financial independence, because sometimes, you have relationships where the woman is dependent on the man or the man is dependent on the woman. So, like, those are a few more things where I feel like people would really have to heal from before they decided to move on. So, for you, Joy, what happens when you don't go through that process? So with any of the things I named, plus the things that you named, plus the things that you know, what happens if you don't go through this whole process of healing first and then you just kind of go to the next person?
Yeah, if you don't go through the process of healing and you go to the next relationship, it's not gonna end. It's not gonna be good for both of you. Whether it's still healing from trust or emotional abuse issues, right? So when you go into a new relationship and you have a conflict, you're thinking, oh, this is, emotional abuse, or I don't know how to handle it, because, the conflicts that you had in your past relationship were emotionally abusive, and so you just shut down. And so every relationship has conflicts. Well, there's healthy conflict and there's unhealthy conflicts. And so knowing that it's okay to fight, but it's not okay to be emotionally abusive, verbally abusive, to your partner in a conflict. But it's okay to state your differences and then come to a resolution. That's healthy conflict. So, that's why it's important to heal first before you move into another relationship, or realize that even if you're not fully healed, you realize some of your faults, where where you fell short in the past relationship, and knowing that, and then when you're in your present relationship, understanding that person in your past is not the person that you're with right now. So that's the most important. Separate the two. That's easier said than done.
Yeah, of course. No, definitely.
Yes. But
so what do you
that's
think?
Important. Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, I definitely agree with that. So, like, for you, like, what is the process? Like, what should you be doing? So let's just say I was dating Jerome and we broke up, it didn't work out. Like, what would you suggest that I would do or I should do during, like, this process of me healing?
Oh, well, you have to work on loving yourself, right? If you're coming from a relationship that was, like, really, really bad, you have to really spend time with yourself, with your family, find a hobby, really get into yourself. Like I said, journaling is really good. I don't journal, but, I just reflect. I do a lot of reflecting on why am I feeling this way? Why, like, what could I have changed, or what can I do for my future relationship before I get into, the next one. It was about 4 years before I got into my current relationship. So it was a long process.
Oh, wow.
And, definitely dated a lot of frogs in in between time.
Yeah.
But I just really was like, you know what? I value myself more, and I wasn't going to go for the guy that said, hey, you want to come over and have a drink? Like, no. Are you taking me out on a date? Like, what are you doing? Like, is this, just valuing yourself more, loving yourself more, working on yourself. I finished my master's degree, got a good job, just thank you. Just, focusing on yourself. If you need to get counseling to kind of heal, in between time, that you can also do that if you feel like you can't do it on your own. I think talking to people, your girlfriends, your family, just to get perspective. And so those are some of the things that you can do, but like really focus on becoming a better version of you, because when you're doing that, I mean, that's healing in itself, because then you're like, okay, I'm worth way like more than what this guy was doing to me, in my previous relationship. Like I'm the bomb.com. So, this is what I have to offer now, and I'm not going to allow anybody that comes into my life next to do, treat me anyhow. So.
And exactly. Yeah. No, that's really good. Like it's definitely a lot of self reflection, but it's also like you said, doing things that you like to do and also building yourself up. Because remember, like a relationship, whether you're married or single or whatever, it doesn't really define who you are, because you still have a life, you still have a purpose, and you still have things you need to do. So one thing I would say is kind of scary that I do see, and then we're going to, because I have a follow-up to the question I just asked you, but it's kind of scary when I see people in serious relationships and then next week they're trying to date somebody. Like, it blows my mind. And it's like, because what it is, it's like, in my mind, it reminds me of like a runaway train, right? And it's just like, you're just going, right? And it's like, there's no, like, what's the word? There's no restraint. There's no, like, it's kind of like you're just spiraling out of control, because you don't want to stop and take a look at what's going on. You know what I mean? So for the process of you trying to get yourself together between relationships, right? Obviously, it's going to vary for people, but how long do you think that process is where you're trying to fix what's broken inside of you, or maybe what you experienced?
How long is that process? I mean, it like you said, it does vary, but I think it's healthy to date people, but not to get into a serious relationship, like you're my boyfriend, I'm your girlfriend, right after you just got out of a serious relationship. No. But to date around, go out on, dates, casually, yes. I think that's fine.
But how long though? How long?
I would say it depends on how long the bad relationship was. But I would say a good 6 months to a year.
Oh.
I think it's a good amount of time to really get back to knowing who you are, because I feel like with relationships, you get really lost in the relationship sometimes, and then when you're out of it, you're just like, what do I do now? Because that person was your whole life, and that's another issue, just to not rely on someone else for your happiness, but to rely on it from within, and that's why you have to always have something going on for yourself, even if you have a relationship, whether you have a relationship or not, you should always have something going on for yourself, so that it won't hit you as hard if things don't work out.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. As far as like, of course, so here's the thing with dating casually and going out on dates and things like that, that's cool, but sometimes you might miss out on a good person if you're not prepared, right? So therefore, I feel like with that, you should probably wait. I would say I'll give it anywhere from 3 to 6 months. Like maybe like for a 3 month period, because I feel like if you meet somebody, they can wait 3 months, right? If you met them on the day that y'all broke up. But I feel like that's the time frame where you can kind of get yourself together. And I'm thinking about the last relationship to me that was important. I felt like when we broke up, like, and this is the first time this ever happened to me, I didn't know what to do with myself. Like, and I'm very social, I'm very out there. But I was lost. Okay, I'm talking about lost. Like, I could not see a hand in front of my face because it's just like, you know, you're just confused. You just don't know what, you know, what you should be doing. And I feel like for me, I want to say within that 3-month time period, I started wanting to go out again because, of course, sometimes you don't want to do anything. Like, you just, like, you're just kind of, like, you're sad. You're just not, you know. And so, like, when I started going out, like, in my case, and I've talked about it on other episodes, but, like, I met a guy who's super duper nice. He looked good. He wasn't, like, out in the streets starting it up. And I just could not wrap my mind around dating him. Like, it just was the wrong time. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and even then, like, it's like after a bad situation, you may meet somebody good, but it's just not going to work out right away because you just feel like, look, I'm not looking for you. I'm looking for a good time. I'm looking, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's definitely, all right. So back to the healing process though. Do you think that it's, something that should be, cause some people may feel like this, do you think it should be something that's comfortable or convenient for you? Or do you think it's going to be something that really rips you apart? Like, it really builds you up?
I think you need a little bit of both. There needs to be a balance there. I feel like, for me, I didn't go to church every Sunday, but I would tune in online a lot more during that process and just kind of realizing certain things about myself that I didn't really recognize before. And I'm trying to think of examples, but I'm just like, I don't know. But
well, it's fun. I'm just so it doesn't have to be all fun though, is what I mean.
No, it's not all fun because you have to really take a look at yourself and why you endured such a, you know, tumultuous relationship. Like, why did you stick around for something that wasn't serving you? You know, you know, if you saw the text messages in the phone and he was, you know, doing his own thing and you still stayed, why did you stay? You know, what didn't you see in yourself that was like, okay, I deserve more? So that was, you know, something that I had to take a look at for myself. Like, he messed up, but why did you stay?
Right. No, it's true. That's true.
That's a hard question, you know.
Yeah.
I still like, what was I thinking, girl? Oh, but
girl, we all been there. But I mean, yeah, it's true. So one of the things you said earlier, so my question was going to be like, do you think you should be healing and dating? But you're saying yes, if it's casual dating, like just going out to drinks and dinner, correct?
No. I think I agree with you with the 3 to 6 months before you start dating, because if you're in a state of you're fragile and you're dating someone, you may miss the signs that this person is the wrong person for you or the right person for you, because you may be feeling like, you know, you don't know what you're feeling, and so anyone could tell you anything and you'll probably just take it, you know, because you miss having that person in your life or miss having someone. Because
being comfortable.
People don't like being alone.
Yes,
I mean, we're not supposed to be alone. We're supposed to have someone, a partner in our life to be with. But you have to be comfortable being alone, because you're never going to get that time back. Because once you're in a relationship, you're in it. So enjoy being single, enjoy being alone, especially if you're trying to heal from a hurtful relationship. You need that time away from dating casually. But do go out with friends, though. Yes.
And enjoy,
family,
smile.
Enjoy life, do something. But I know initially, because for me, it was like, initially I was like, I don't go nowhere. I don't want to see nobody. I just want to sleep. Leave me alone.
Yeah. No, it definitely happens like that.
Yeah,
so you definitely still live your life.
Yes.
Okay.
The 3 months without dating, yes. And after that, when you're strong, when you feel you're strong enough to not, you know, feed into the BS, then I would say yes. You're ready to casually date. But if you're still like, you know, anyone could feed you whatever and you're just like, oh, and you're just like, but girl, he's not even calling you every day, or he calls you every 3 days and you're not seeing it. You're like, oh, well, he's a nice guy, and you're not ready, you know.
Yeah. So do you think that, well, not even do you think, because I feel like one of the side effects of trying to date somebody before you heal, and I don't care if it takes you a year to heal, then take a year, but one of the side effects of that is that you may actually find the same kind of person you just left, or that just left you, because you're not fully healed. You're attracting that, whatever dysfunction and whatnot. Yeah, so that's one side effect I would say. But my last question for you before we wrap up is, obviously we're giving our points of view on healing from your past as women. Do you think that men actually take the steps to heal from their past or no?
That's a hard question. I don't.
I mean, it's just your opinion though, but you know what I mean? Because we obviously know that we have to pick up the pieces and whatnot, but there are some men who move on immediately, but we don't know if that's like I talked about the rebound, or like, do you think that men actually go through the steps of actually trying to get themselves together?
I mean, I think some men do. Some men do. It depends on who you were with. If you're with someone that had other girls in his phone, then he ain't healing from nothing. So that's a sign that he keeps it moving. Okay,
yes.
Next. But
and men like that, I would say, are emotionally disconnected, so they do need healing. But yes, that's something I've also seen as well. They just be chilling. They got a new girl every day. That to me is just not natural. I mean, I guess it's natural for men, but it's like at some point emotionally, like, you're disconnected if you can just, but anyway, neither here nor there. So, honey, before we
say one more thing,
yes,
to your point about knowing when you're ready to, when you've been fully healed. For me, it was just like, I knew I was fully healed because I ran into the same type of dude that I, previously just got that long, horrible, and I was just like, absolutely not. Ran the other way. That's how you heal. Like, okay, he's cute, and everything. He's good looking, but you start to see the certain, the same kind of things. It's just like, no, and you just pull back. That's how you know you fully heal.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Definitely. So that's good stuff. So, honey, well, that is the end of my episode for today. So if anybody wants to find you on social media or get in contact with you, where can they reach you?
Okay, so my Instagram and my Snapchat are both the same, MSNONYE, Miss Nonye. So you guys can reach me on there.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out today to be my special guest. And to my listeners, no problem, babe, anytime. And to my listeners, I want to thank you guys all for tuning in. Until next time, you guys have a good one.